Yerin Ha just did something at her stage door in New York that has Bridgerton fans completely losing it. And if you've been waiting for any sign about what's coming in Season 5, this is the closest thing we've gotten so far. Because when a fan brought up Season 5 directly to her face, her reaction said more than any official announcement ever could. So here's the situation. Yarin has been in New York performing in the Maids at St. Anne's Warehouse in Brooklyn, a dark, twisted stage play that's basically the polar opposite of the sweet, Cinderella-coated Sophie Baek we fell in love with on Bridgerton. But every night after the show, she's been doing stage door meet and greets, and fans have been documenting every single second of it. And honestly, the clips that are circulating right now are giving us so much insight into who Yarin actually is off-screen, and what she might be hinting at for Sophie's future. Let's start with the first big moment. One fan told Yarin that Season 4, her season, the one where Sophie and Benedict's entire love story played out, was their favorite season of Bridgerton ever.
I can attest. Season 4 is my obsession.
Oh, thank you.
My favorite of this, and I have loved the series since the beginning.
Yeah.
But this one has been my favorite.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
A quick photo?
Yes,
Yes,
I would.
of course.
Oh, I have it on selfie. All right, and now I will do a selfie.
Yeah.
We enjoyed this.
And Yarin's reaction? Fans are calling it absolutely adorable. She didn't just say thank you and move on. People who were there described her face lighting up, this genuine, almost shy happiness, like she still can't quite believe the impact Season 4 has had. And honestly, that tracks with everything we've heard from her press tour. In interviews around the Lunar New Year Gold celebration in New York, back in February, Yarin talked about how surreal the last 6 months have been for her, going from a relatively under-the-radar actress with credits in Halo and Dune Prophecy to suddenly being the face of Bridgerton's most talked-about season in years. But it wasn't just about the love story. Another fan at the stage door brought up something that clearly means a lot to Yarin: representation. They told her how amazing it was to finally see an Asian leading lady on screen in something as massive as Bridgerton, and praised her performance specifically for that. And this is something Yarin has spoken about publicly before, too. At that same Gold House event in February, she told press that she feels so proud to be the face of that kind of change, and that she wants to keep advocating for Asian actors to have these leading roles and these spaces. So when a fan brings that up at a stage door, completely unscripted, off the cuff, that's not just a nice moment. That's confirmation that the message is actually landing with the audience exactly the way she hoped it would. And if you're new here, this channel is where we break down everything happening with the Bridgerton cast, especially anything involving Benedict and Sophie, way before it hits the mainstream entertainment sites. So if you don't want to miss the next update, now's the time to hit that subscribe button, because trust me, there is a lot more coming on this. Okay, now here's the moment everyone's actually talking about. A fan at the stage door told Yarin they were excited for Season 5. Just that. Simple statement. And Yarin's response? She smiled and said, "Me too." Now on the surface, that sounds like nothing. Of course she's excited. She's the lead. Why wouldn't she be excited for her own show to come back? But think about the context here. Season 5 storyline hasn't been confirmed publicly in any major way yet. We don't officially know which sibling story is next, how much Sophie and Benedict will even feature, or what direction their relationship goes from here. So when Yarin smiles, genuinely smiles, and says "me too," instead of giving some vague, PR-trained non-answer, fans are reading that as a sign that whatever's coming for her character, she's genuinely happy about it. That's not the reaction of someone bracing for a difficult storyline. That's the reaction of someone who knows something good is coming. But here's where it gets even more interesting, because there's something else Yarin has said publicly about Sophie's future that puts this whole Me Too moment in a completely different light. And we're going to get into that in just a second. But first, let's talk about the moment that's honestly become the most viral part of this entire stage door. Because apparently, Yerin Ha might be the biggest Benophie fan of all of us. So fans have noticed, and this has been going around for a while now, that Yarin is constantly liking posts about Benophie. Fan edits, fan theories, sweet moments between Sophie and Benedict, gift sets, all of it. She's out here, in her downtime, between performing one of the darkest plays in modern theater 8 times a week, liking fan content about her own character's love story. And at the stage door, this came up too. Fans were teasing her about it, and she leaned right into it. She's not hiding it. She's not playing it cool. She's just as invested in Sophie and Benedict's story as the people who've been making edit compilations at 2 a.m. And honestly, that energy is exactly why this fandom has stayed so strong. When the actress playing your favorite couple is out here being a fan herself, reacting the same way we do, it makes everything feel more real. It's not just a job to her. She clearly cares about where this story goes. Now back to that Me Too, because there's context here that makes it even more loaded. In a recent interview, Yerin actually talked about what she thinks Sophie's life looks like after the season 4 finale. And her take was that Sophie might genuinely struggle adjusting to life as a noble. Think about it. Sophie spent her whole life as a maid, an illegitimate daughter who was never acknowledged, never given status. And now suddenly, she's married into one of the most powerful families in the entire Bridgerton universe. That's not a small adjustment. That's an entire identity shift. So when Yarin smiles and says "Me Too" about season 5, it's not necessarily because everything is going to be easy and perfect for Sophie. It might be because Yarin, as an actress, is excited to actually dig into that struggle, to play a more complicated, layered version of Sophie now that the fairy tale wedding is over. And speaking of layered roles, let's talk about why Yarin is even in New York right now. The Maids is about as far from Bridgerton as you can possibly get. It's a psychologically intense play, where 2 maids act out dark, twisted fantasies about their employer, blurring the line between performance and reality completely. Yarin plays Madame, the wealthy, controlling employer herself. So picture this. The same actress who plays the sweet, humble Cinderella-coded maid on Bridgerton is spending her nights in Brooklyn playing the polar opposite, a cold, powerful, manipulative mistress. That range is exactly why critics have been raving about this production, with reviews calling it everything from exhilarating to an absolute masterpiece. So here's how all of this connects. You've got Yarin proving she can play complicated, morally messy characters in The Maids. You've got her openly admitting Sophie might struggle with her new life as a noble. And you've got her smiling and saying "Me Too" when a fan brings up season 5, not hesitating, not deflecting. Put all of that together, and it really feels like season 5 might give Sophie an arc with actual depth, not just happily ever after the end, but something with real stakes, real growth, maybe even some conflict between who Sophie was and who she's expected to be now. And if Yarin's performance in The Maids is anything to go by, she is more than ready for that challenge. At the end of the day, what this stage door really showed us is how much Yerin Ha cares about the fans, about representation, about Sophie and Benedict's story, and about where it all goes next. She's not just an actress reading lines. She's genuinely emotionally invested, just like we are. And that "Me Too," honestly, it might be the most reassuring 2 words Bridgerton fans have heard in months. So now we want to know, when Yarin smiled and said "Me Too" about season 5, what do you think she actually knows that we don't? Drop your theories in the comments below. We read every single one. And if you want more Benedict and Sophie content like this, hit subscribe, because we've got a lot more coming on Benophie's road to season 5.